Hello, friends. Happy Wednesday, I think. Hope you're all doing well. Had a good day today. I had a pretty good day today. A few things happened. What happened today? I continued doing I have some big deliverables due this week. I'm now officially 5/6 of the way through them. The last sort of big deliverable between now and having a little bit of a breather at the beginning of the summer, so that is nice. And looks like we already have some controversy in the chat today. A lot of folks here. Looks like we've got Kelsey. Hey Kelsey. Ben in the chat. Keith in the chat. Zach in the chat. How you all doing? Tom Kelly. Hey Dad. How's it going? Ben with some controversy that the old fashioned is only number 3. Is this a scandal? Oh my goodness. I think it might be. I think it might be. I think so. We'll talk about it. We're going to talk about it. The other thing that happened to me today was I've been working. One of my projects this week has been just cleaning out our garage. Want to make it a little more functional. Get some of my woodworking tools a little bit more accessible, and for some projects that I want to work on this summer. And over the winter, over the last 6 or 8 months. We have sort of replaced and gotten rid of some of the furniture without actually getting rid of it in our house. So we got a new TV stand. What do we do with the old TV stand? Oh, we'll just stick it in the garage. We have a old dresser that Helen used to have in her sewing room. We're getting rid of that. Did we really get rid of it? No, we just stick it in the garage. Some old desk, I don't even know where it was, but it was in the garage. And so there's also a big pile of stuff that we want to donate and get rid of. Not sure if anybody knows if the donation places like Savers or whatever are started accepting stuff again. Because I know for a while they put a hold on that. I'm pretty sure Savers is open again, but I don't know if their donation dock is open or not. But hopefully to quickly get rid of some of that stuff. Anyway, for the big furniture pieces, we were going to maybe do a garbage pickup. The way Dedham does garbage is if you have your normal garbage day, everything has to go into the roller, garbage bin that you put out at the curb on your designated day. And if you have big bulky items, you just have to schedule them to pick it up, and they'll do up to 1 a week, which is generally fine. It's annoying when you have a few of them because you need to schedule consecutive weeks for them and kind of figure out what to do with them. So anyway, I was trying to avoid that with these 3 pieces of furniture, and they're in pretty good shape, so I figured, I'll just throw them up on Craigslist and Facebook and just put them out of the curb, put a sign on them that says free, and get rid of them that way. And it worked really well. It was interesting, actually. I feel like when I've done this in the past, I got sort of equal interest in Craigslist and Facebook, but today was really all Facebook. I don't think anybody even messaged me on my Craigslist post. So it's just, I wonder, do people even use Craigslist anymore? Is it still a thing? I don't know. But all 3 things got picked up. It took a couple hours, but they were all gone. Didn't have to do anything. Didn't want to, it was free. Just left them out there. Some people were like, oh, will you set this aside for me? I'm going to come in a little bit. I'm like, nope, not setting anything aside. Not playing those games. You don't show up. Now I have this weird thing. I told other people it's not available anymore. First come, first serve. Take care of it. And it was all really easy. So it was good. People were nice in the chat when they chatted me. So that was good. Took care of that. And like I said, did some work for work. And now here we are. And so it's an exciting moment that we are now in our top 3 of Ryan Kelly's top 10 cocktails. And of course the comment gave it away. Today we were making the Old Fashioned. Now, how is the Old Fashioned only number 3? How is it not number 1? Or at least number 2? And you'll of course have to wait until tomorrow and Friday to see what shows up on Ryan Kelly's top 10 cocktails. I will say I think the Old Fashioned, which I make and which I'm about to make, is the perfect cocktail. I think it has the history behind it. It is the classic formulation of spirit, sugar, water, bitters, the 4 ingredients that you need to historically satisfy the rigid original definition of a cocktail. It is it holds an important place in the evolution of the cocktail in the mid-19th century. When, again, it being the original cocktail, and then as things were getting a little bit crazy, people sort of grasping for their old, whoa, slow down. with your maraschino liqueur and your fruit juices and your chartreuses and your grenadines and your vermouths, don't get me started. I want the good old days back. Just make me a nice whiskey cocktail the old-fashioned way. And here we have the old-fashioned. So historically, it's important. And I think too, in my own journey, my own cocktail journey over the last 16 years since I turned 21, but especially in the last 15 when I've gotten really into classic cocktails, pre-Prohibition era cocktails, cocktail history. This is one that has really stood out as feeling that I have fully mastered it, realize I can make a drink at home that is as good or better than what I can get out at a bar. And also the recipe that I make and I use, and I will say this is, if you were to ask me what cocktail have you made more than any other cocktail in your life, this is by far the most. I've made this one probably 5 times more than whatever number 2 would be, maybe a daiquiri or a margarita. But this is the cocktail that Helen and I just go to and drink. This is what totally normal. It's like, hey, let's have old fashions, and we do. And early on, when I realized I was starting to get into cocktails, I had an iPad. It might have been the original iPad or version 2. It was very early iPad, so it must have been 2009 or so. We were living in Worcester, and I downloaded this. I guess it was an app, but it was a digital book called Speakeasy Cocktails that was made and designed for the format of the iPad, which is cool. And it basically had a series of instructional videos, some background, and then recipes broken up by a different spirit. And that's really where I learned to and developed my interest in really the art of craft cocktails and making cocktails. And where I learned the ones that stick out the most are, in addition to the old-fashioned, the caipirinha, the margarita, the mint julep, I feel are the 4 that just really stick out in my mind and I can see being made by the instructor. And it turns out, I didn't realize this at the time, but it turns out the instructor is Jim Meehan, who is the founder of the classic speakeasy style bar PDT in New York City, and has made some really seminal cocktail books over time, which I have. Now, it took me a while to realize it was that guy that really turned me on to all of this, but yeah, it was cool. I think back to that book often. They didn't keep it updated, so I can't get it on my current iPad because it's the iOS isn't compatible or whatever. So the actual digital book is, I think, lost to history and technology. Although you can find the videos on YouTube, which I have and which I've gone back to just for old time's sake. So yeah, and I really think that the old fashioned is. Again, that I'm about to make is the perfect cocktail. I think it is. How can it not be number 1? We'll talk about that tomorrow. We'll talk about that on Friday. I think any of the top 3, if you catch me on a different day, they could have gotten moved around in a different order. The other thing that, as I start to make this, that I think is really special about the old-fashioned that I make is that it features my very own beard bitters. And so that's another part of my own cocktail evolution and journey that was really meaningful, is when I first got the Brad Thomas Parsons book, Bitters, and learned what are bitters and what's going on and what are they for and what is this weird mystery ingredient that is seminal to the cocktail that is kind of a weird thing. I feel I didn't know what bitters are, and then I made my own batch of bitters. Beard Bitters was born, and am able to incorporate them into my old fashioned instead of just using Angostura, which is great. There's nothing wrong with Angostura. In fact, they are iconic, and their place in the world of cocktails is well earned and deserved. but it's fun to have my own bitters too. So I've got a good healthy dose of my beer bitters in here. I've got half an ounce of my 1-to-1 simple syrup. And then I'm using my house rye, the best rye, 100 proof, bottled in bond, Rittenhouse rye. And looks like I'm about to kill this bottle, but fear not, because in my cupboard I have a backup. So I'll open this up, and immediately I just get that, when I start pouring that Rittenhouse into my jigger, I get that scent of the rye, and it takes me away already, right? This is the smell of making an old fashioned, of making this perfect, amazing drink. That, as I like to say to people, this cocktail will change your life, and for me it has. I think too, what's fun about the old fashioned is this old fashioned, which is just so perfect, is totally different from what people think an old fashioned is. If they've just been going to random bars and ordering old fashions where they, take some sugar and then spray a little soda water in the bottom and then put in a half moon of orange and a bright pink maraschino cherry, and then they muddle and mash it all up. So you have this weird fruit salad in the bottom of your glass, and then they throw in a bunch of ice. They maybe put bitters in, they maybe don't. I hope they do. And then they'll put in the rye if you specify, and maybe they'll do bourbon. And then they'll give it another squirt of soda water on top, and it's just really it's not bad. It's like getting pizza in Boston. It's not good pizza. Doesn't mean it's not something that you'll eat, and enjoy. But let's throw on some stirring music. Okay, all set. Remember, 6 stirs at first. We have our bitters, we have our simple syrup, we have our rye. I'm gonna go with the cube today. I go back and forth between the cubes and the spheres. Something that's often fun that I kind of like the effect of is if you use a smaller glass, the cube can really just rise well above the level of the liquid, which has a really cool effect. This is almost there. This is just sort of like a big, nice rocks glass, double old-fashioned glass that we have. And now the only fruit that I am going to get here is just a nice twist of lemon. This is a tiny lemon that I got from Trader Joe's that came in a bag. I feel like often when you get them in the little bag of a bunch of lemons, they're always smaller. But we'll see how I do if I can just carefully take off some of this rind, even though it's really small. Very nice. And express the oils. Rub it around the rim so you get a little bit of that taste on your lips. Smack it to express it some more. Drop it in. And now we're going to give it just 2 more stirs. And the other thing that I really like about the old fashioned, as we have just this one big cube, is that it'll slowly dilute a little bit, and the drink will change a little bit over time. And in fact, that original old fashioned recipe from Jim Meehan from that Speakeasy Cocktails iPad ebook app, whatever you want to call it, gave the instructions there to just let it rest and let it sit for 2 minutes. And you could probably speed that up by giving it a few extra stirs and speed up the dilution a little bit, and that sort of thing. But there's something that I really like about just this process of, sitting back. We're not in a rush to do this. We have this perfect, amazing drink in front of us, and it's coming. We can anticipate it. We can smell it. We can look at it and admire it. But going to this drink at the end of the day is something of a religious experience, I think. And so you want to really just pause and take stock of the moment. So I really appreciate too this resting and waiting period for that reason there. So so there we have it. So there we have. There stands the glass, as David Wondrich would say. And let's give it a taste. Cheers. Now, my old fashioned has some sweetness to it. It is not scared to really like push that simple syrup in there. And I think this is one of the reasons Helen likes it too, is that you're not, at its face, you're drinking a big glass of rye, right? But you're not. You're really mellowing it down a lot. You're bringing some good sweetness there. And I think that's one of the things that makes it really nice. Of course, you can adjust the ratios for your own palate and your own tastes and whatever you want to do. And if you really just want to drink straight rye, feel free. Feel free. Who am I to stop you? But I appreciate not being scared of having, a little bit of sweetness there to the drink that doesn't just balance it out, but it really like pushes it forward, I think. I appreciate the Amen Ben. Tom Kelly, baseball is looking better. Yeah, I saw a little bit on Twitter today that there seems to be some optimism among reporters or players or whoever that they might be able to strike a deal. I hope so. I think they're looking at prorated salaries and an expanded postseason. So we'll see. The quicker they make a deal, the quicker we can get started. Especially on these hot days, I miss watching the Yankees. Miss putting them on the radio, miss watching them on TV, so I hope it's coming. I hope they figure that out. But yeah, I saw that too, Tom, and agree that maybe it's okay to be a little optimistic there. So we'll see. Found this shirt. Do you see this? This like white polo. This is another thing that it's from Majestic Resorts. So this was given to me when Helen and I in February snuck in a vacation in the Dominican Republic right before COVID hit. And man, if we had booked that a month later, I don't think we would have made it. But anyway, they when we got there, they gave us these white polos. We're like, all right, thanks. And I don't think I've worn it until today, but it's brought me back to the majestic Mirage, the Dominican Republic, which was quite fun and quite nice. So there you have it.
It's 5 o'clock. Why not have a drink with